The first sound is not a roar, but a hush, an expectant silence that spreads across the Indian sky as if the world itself is holding its breath. A curtain of cloud drifts in, slow and immense, swallowing sunlight until the land below is painted in steel blue shadow. Then lightning splits the horizon, a bright scar across the belly of the storm, and the air thickens with the metallic scent of rain about to be born. In crystalline detail, each droplet becomes a small universe, striking leaf and stone and skin, and the earth answers like an ancient drum. This is India at the moment of return, the monsoon, an elemental force so vast it reshapes geography, rewrites migration routes, and decides who will eat, who will endure, and who will disappear. From the emerald spine of the western Ghats, where mountains catch moist winds rolling in from the Arabian Sea, to the broad river plains and the tiger forests of the interior, water becomes both blessing and blade. It brings abundance, but it also brings risk, floods that erase trails, parasites that thrive in heat, and sudden torrents that can turn shelter into trap. And everywhere, life rises to meet it, because in the monsoon, survival is not a season, it is a test written in rain. Along India's western edge, the western Ghats stand like a fortress wall, rising steeply and catching the sky's moisture in their green hands. Here the rainforests glow with layered life, towering trees braided with vines, leaves polished to a mirror sheen, and a canopy so dense it feels like a living ceiling. Beneath it, the understory is a world of shadows and damp, slick rock, breathing soil, and a constant shimmer of movement that vanishes the moment you look straight at it. In monsoon months, the ground is no longer simply ground. It becomes a sponge, pulsing with insects, fungi, and the sudden bloom of amphibians that have waited through dry weeks for this single permission to breathe loudly again. Rivers swell like awakening serpents. Streams that were whispers become roaring ribbons. Hillsides turn into precarious slides, and every step, hoof, paw, or foot, must be measured against the possibility of collapse. Yet danger here is not unexpected. It is tradition. The animals of this realm are shaped by water's moods, tuned to its rhythms, hardened by its unpredictability. A low rumble rolls through the trees, deep, resonant, intimate, and the forest seems to make way as a herd of Asian elephants advances through rain-darkened green. Their skin, soaked and gleaming, turns to stone gray. Water gathers in their wrinkles and runs in thin rivers down their flanks. Calves press close, tucked beside mothers like living shadows, sheltered beneath bodies that are both fortress and family. Elephants do not merely pass through these forests, they engineer them. With trunks that are at once hands and hoses, they bend saplings, break branches, peel bark, and open pathways that smaller creatures will follow. When dry months return, they dig with tusk and foot, carving wells that become lifelines for birds, deer, and even predators. In monsoon, those same roots become channels through flooded terrain, remembered corridors through chaos. Their adaptation is not speed or stealth. It is memory, an ancient map held inside a mind that outlasts seasons. They remember safe crossings and high ground, the old salt licks, the places where water rises gently instead of violently. But memory cannot move concrete. Tonight the herd reaches a scar in the forest, a highway slicing through an ancestral corridor. Headlights flare in the rain like predatory eyes. Engines hiss. The air tastes of hot rubber and impatience. The matriarch stands still, her body a quiet monument, deciding. One wrong step, one startled calf, and the river of life could end in metal and noise. She listens to the rhythm of danger, waits for the brief gap between moving threats, and then, like a commander leading a fragile army, she takes the first step. The herd follows tight and swift, crossing the human-made river before it closes again. In this new age, Survival is no longer only against nature. It is against the world we build inside it. Far inland, where forests blend into tall grass and reed-lined rivers, another ruler moves through water with the silence of a shadow-given muscle. A Bengal tiger slips along the flooded margins, rain beating on its striped coat until it becomes a shifting illusion. Sunlight and darkness woven together, camouflage perfected by evolution's patient hand. In wet season, scent trails smear and dissolve, the ground becomes unreliable, and the old rules of tracking change with every downpour. Prey travels differently now. Deer seek islands of higher ground where their fawns can stand above the flood's teeth, gathering in nervous clusters that tremble at every sound. The tiger does not chase the chaos. It studies it. Built for stealth, padded paws, powerful shoulders, eyes calibrated for dim light, it places each step with measured softness, letting water hide its approach. The monsoon turns hunting into a gamble. The tiger's ambush must be perfect, because wasted effort drains precious energy and humidity that clings like a second skin. There is a moment of stillness so complete it feels like the forest has stopped breathing. Then the tiger detonates forward, a storm released from restraint. Water erupts into crystal arcs. Grass folds and snaps. The chase is brutal, brief, final. In nature, beauty and violence are not opposites. They are intertwined, two faces of the same law. For the tiger, every successful kill is more than a meal. It is heat in the blood, strength in the limbs, the fuel that will carry it through parasites, competition, and the relentless pressure of a world where territory is shrinking and conflict is rising at the edges of human settlement. But the monsoon does not crown only solitary monarchs. In deeper sal forests and rugged valleys, a whistle cuts through the rain, high, sharp, urgent, announcing hunters who rewrite the rules with numbers and coordination. Dholes, the Asiatic wild dogs, move like embers in a wet world, their russet coats flashing between trunks as the pack flows through under growth. Their greatest adaptation is not size, because they are smaller than many of their rivals. It is cooperation. They do not rely on one perfect body, but on many imperfect ones aligned toward a single purpose. In the rain-smeared forest, they read one another's movements like a shared language, glances, tail angles, quick pivots. They test the wind and circle, pressing prey toward exhaustion with relentless pacing. Where a tiger is silence, the dholes are momentum. Yet their power depends on the pack holding together, and that unity is threatened by a landscape increasingly fractured into islands. Roads, farms, timber extraction, and human conflict cutting continuity into broken pieces. Cut the forest and you do not simply remove trees, you remove strategy. You remove the long corridors that allow a pack to hunt efficiently, to avoid rivals, to find new ground when old territories dry or burn. In the monsoon, when visibility collapses and the earth turns slick, communication becomes everything. A wrong turn, a slip in the mud, a misjudged push, and the hunt dissolves into wasted effort. Still, the pack presses on, because hunger does not wait for better weather. And then there are the small miracles, the lives that arrive in sudden, overwhelming chorus when the first true downpour unlocks the soil. The ground begins to sing. Frogs emerge in impossible numbers, tiny throats calling out like scattered bells across puddles and leaf litter. Many have waded through the dry season hidden beneath debris, bodies slowed, moisture conserved like treasure, their existence paused in the dark. Now, awakened by vibration and humidity, they race to breed before temporary pools. Vani, shh, the monsoon is not generous forever. It is a window, and life must pour through it at speed. Where frogs gather, predators follow, because abundance is a beacon that cannot be concealed. A king cobra slides through wet foliage, its scales catching dim light in jeweled flashes. This is not merely the world's longest venomous snake. It is a specialist, a hunter of other snakes, a master of the forest's labyrinth. Rain cloaks its approach and blurs the boundary between safety and vulnerability. Yet even this ancient predator is being pushed toward danger by shrinking forests and expanding villages, where fear can kill faster than hunger ever could. The monsoon is old, older than roads, older than cities, older than the stories we tell ourselves about control. But the world it falls upon is changing. Rain arrives out of rhythm, some years late, starving forests of predictable renewal, other years too hard, too fast, flooding nests, drowning young, and ripping away the delicate timing that life depends on. Climate change does not always look like fire. Sometimes it looks like rain that no longer keeps its promises. And across India, the pressure of human expansion tightens, highways slicing elephant corridors, plastic threading rivers, lights confusing nocturnal hunters, noise drowning mating calls. Every species here has evolved to survive storms, but no animal evolved for a planet that changes faster than instincts can adapt. As the rain eases and mist rises from the forest like breath, silhouettes of elephants fade into cloud, a tiger drinks at a reed-lined bend with its reflection fractured by ripples, and the dholes regroup in the dark, panting alive. The monsoon has fed the land, but it has also revealed its wounds, because in India's wild places, survival is no longer only a contest between tooth and hunger. It is also a contest against fragmentation, against imbalance, against the quiet erosion of the very systems that make this spectacular life possible.